deal. So what I'm talking today about is our off-season training for football. And a lot of coaches, they talk about it, right? They talk about what they do and how they do it, and and it's this, and it's a lot of X's and O's. And we're going to talk a little bit of X's and O's today. But I also think that what we really need to look at is why we do what we do, and kind of exactly where we want to go with what we have, and it's more so why we coach these kids the way we do. I think that's an important thing to look at. So I love this quote. Does anybody know who Clint Bruce is? Anything at all? He is. So I had an opportunity. I worked with a guy named Bobby McLaren who started this 5-star heart program. All right, in Philly. So that's where I was at previously. I was in Philadelphia. And Bobby played football at the Naval Academy, and I got to meet so many people just because Bobby, number one, he was a starting linebacker on, the team that beat Notre Dame. And they were very, very good, for a Navy football program. And I would go to the Army-Navy game with him. I would go to events with him, and it was just awesome to be able to meet people. Well, I met this guy named Clint Bruce, who was the most badass son of a bitch I've ever met in my life. I mean, he, the way he talked, the way he acted, the way that he just presented himself, everything just intrigued the hell out of me. It was he spoke, and he spoke clearly, and he knew exactly what he was going to say, and it was precise, and it meant something. I love this quote. I wrote it down in my notebook, way back then. It was like, we all have a call to be elite, because elite gets asked its questions. All right. I tell the guys that we can only be two things. The problem is they are rarely these two things right now. All right. They can either be excellent or they can be elite. You have a choice to make for the day. All right. We can't be anything else, and we have to be excellent on our bad days, because very rarely are we elite. The problem that we're having right now is the kids, they spend some time in like good and okay and those type of deals. And we're going to continue to push them to only focus on those two different things. Excellent and elite, because elite does special things. Excellent, you're doing a good job for the day. If you do anything other than that, you're not accomplishing what you need to. And I think that as you look at what you're coaching these kids with, why you're doing it, everything has to be relationship based. The kid can squat, he can bench, he can deadlift as much as he can. But if you're not willing, if that kid ain't got a ride to workouts, you're not willing to wake up 15 minutes earlier to go pick him up, to bring him here and then take him home, then I think you should get out of the business, because I think they got to mean the world to you. And every single thing that you do, it's got to be 100% unconditional all the time. It can't be for money. It can't be for the logo. It's got to be for those kids. And they're going to piss you off. They're going to upset you. They're going to do all these things wrong. But I think that when we go through this whole program, I want you guys to understand that nothing is going to be perfect. Some techniques bad. Some techniques great. Some technique is we're working on. Nothing is going to be extraordinary. Some things are going to be really good. Some things are going to be bad. Our guys aren't really great at everything, and they're not awful at everything. But we work our best as coaches to build them up and make them better every single day. And when you kind of put a program under a microscope, that's important to look at. That's important to look at. So you get a quick bio on me. I played football at Wayne State University. I had to put this picture up here just because Kyle played here, and I actually talked to him often. But this was Kyle. He was a freshman when I was a senior. So whenever he's around, I always show him that picture. He just quoted him. All right. So I played football at Wayne State University. All right, and we had a lot of success there, and it was great. Lucky enough to play for a national title. And then I started interning, and this is this is 5 years ago, and I met a guy, that guy right there, who ended up being the best man at my wedding. And I worked for a guy who he currently works for that has been a father to me, and I learned a lot over my 2.5 years that I worked there. It's extraordinary. Coach Mendoza is a different dude, a great guy. He's been in this business for 30 years, and you learn a lot from a guy like that. So after that, I took the director of strength and conditioning job at Moravian College, which is as far east in Pennsylvania as you can go, right on the Jersey border. And I was there for slightly over 2 years. That's where I met Ryan. That's where I hired Ryan. That's where we started developing a relationship and started coaching together. We trained, my first year it was just myself for 21 varsity sports and 620 student athletes. And then my second year I was able to hire Ryan, and then we split the load. So it was a huge learning experience for me. The football program there, I don't want to come off as I'm just a football guy, because I love training other sports. I love training our hockey program, I love training our basketball program, I love training the volleyball program. Today we're going to talk about football, it just happens to be. But the football program improved, and I felt like we had a really big part of what happened there. I think the program had really helped. Our strength and conditioning program really helped the football program there. So I actually stole this first one from Jim Carizzi, the guy that Ryan used to work for. He said to me one time, it's all about doing simple things savagely well. I think that everybody gets lost in the Boshu balls and something you wrap around your head and twist around for the neck, and like all this stuff that just doesn't matter. It's great, it's awesome. But just ask yourself if it really matters. Does it really make a difference in what you're doing? That's where you start. You start off doing simple things savagely well. And when you start to do those things really well, is when you start to see the guys progress in their ability to do more and more technical things. You got to believe in the basic movements, all right? One of the reasons why I love John is that we're somewhat cut from the same cloth. There's parts of me that I'm nothing like John, all right? But there's a lot of that we're cut from the same cloth, our beliefs and kind of the way we go about things in terms of training. I just believe that you gotta believe in the basic movements. You gotta believe in the clean, squat, the bench, and the deadlift. And if you don't believe in the clean, then you better be triple extension the hell out of those kids, because those are the basics. Those are the foundation of any program ever. So when you're writing a football program or writing any other program, to me, in my head, the first things you write down are clean, squat, bench, deadlift, and you split it up over how many days you're training. And you better make sure your accessories fit around what you're doing, because this isn't that hard. Like programming isn't that tough, especially for high school athlete. Break it down to the simplest movements. If you guys want progressions that we're talking about today, I'll send them to you. If you want from the squat, clean, bench, you want the progressions that we use, I'll send them to you. All right, but it's not hard, guys. It's really not. Hip hinge. Make sure they can move the full range of motions. Make sure on triple extension, all three joints are extending. This is easy stuff to do. And all you got to do is just know where to put it. That's it. Things have gotten more advanced, but the squat hasn't. Like this stuff hasn't changed. It's something, I'm talking about the same thing. It's that the gold standard is always going to be the gold standard forever. Don't exclude it from your program because you're scared to do it. If you don't think you can coach something, figure out a way to learn and coach it. I think that some guys, people get lost in this and that, and they think that they can't coach us because they can't do it. Well, I just feel like if you're a strength and conditioning coach, and this is something that you believe in, you want to be a strength and conditioning coach, and then you have to be really well versed in everything that you do. So if you can't squat well, or you don't like the wide stance squat off of a box, I still think that you need to try it for 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 weeks before you tell somebody that that doesn't work. You know what I mean? Because how do you know? Just because you read it in a book? I think that's a little discouraging sometimes when you hear people talk about that kind of stuff. Don't start writing stuff off because you can't do it, you're uncomfortable coaching it, and you don't have knowledge on it. If you don't have knowledge on it, then you got to go read a book and figure out how you can do it. Put your priorities in the right place, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Know what your kids need to get better at, and put it in your programming for them to get better. Always have a set system of what you want to do. So our off-season priorities this year. I don't know if you've watched a lot of Northern Michigan football. Okay, we're very undersized, and we don't have a lot of meat. Okay, and I think that a lot of competitors. I thought the same thing when I played. Okay, and I know that a lot of competitors think the same thing. I talk to those strength coaches. Like, you guys are just kind of small, but you're really fast. But I think that our priorities for the off season, we're going to put a lot of size and strength on. capacity, and we want to build a competitive culture in everything that we do. So this is something that these kids, I'm just like, sometimes it's dragging and pulling and clawing, because you don't understand how they can't wake up at 6 o'clock and just want to just compete with somebody. You don't understand it in your head, so you better find a way to get it done, right? So you have to have them compete in everything that they do. Some things that like I would have implemented 3 years ago, I implemented this year. We started doing some testing with the Tendo units here in the last couple of weeks. We have one Tendo unit that I found in a storage closet, this one right here, and now we use it. And I don't know how accurate it is, but we were going to use the hell out of it. All right, and we started doing stuff like that. We try and do a team competition every single day, whether it's board trivia up on the board, figuring out how stupid somebody is, or working through a med ball complex where they got to throw it as far as they can. They just compete with the guy next to them. Just put them in a competitive atmosphere, and everything that they do, they're going to start to breed. Because once you start getting those guys that are saying, you get those older guys, and they tell the younger guys, hey, this is how we do things. That's when you're starting to do things right. When you have programs that those guys are here, and these guys are still here, and these guys are not being told what to do, that's when you see the programs that aren't going to be successful. Because you got to put yourself in a position as a coach to bring these middle guys up here, be leaders, and tell those other guys how to do things. I believe that you can do that through competition, because competition produces winners, and winners produces leadership. Right? And when you win, you can be a leader, and you're better than somebody else, and they know it, that you're better than them, you can start to tell them to do things. Does that make sense? That's how things work, right? That's a workplace, that's a lot of things. If you're your boss, and eventually you're going to get better than your boss, and you're going to take his job, right? And then you're going to be able to tell him how to do things. And I think that's important. Competition breeds that stuff. Increased work capacity, I think, some people think that what we do in the first 4 weeks is a little unorthodox. I'll be honest with you. We really hammer the kids for the first 4 weeks. So to give you an example of building what work capacity looks to me, okay? We'll spend the first 4 weeks, we will come in, we will jump, all right? We'll hit 4 sets of 5 on the box jump, all right? And then we'll come in and we'll clean. We don't have the capabilities to really clean the way we want to clean, so we hang clean up there, and the kids have to catch it every time because we don't lay the platforms. So we use a bumper plates, but we will jump, we will clean, all right, and then we will squat, and then we will RDL, but we will squat, we will RDL, and they'll be back to back. So we will squat, and there'll be a bar set up behind them, and they know that they better get their ass to the bar in a couple of seconds so that they're RDL. And then after they get done with that, they go right back to squat, and the rest time is minimal. Because we're trying to build up that, we're hitting 10s and we're hitting 12s, and we're starting to build up that, number one, we're putting the volume on, we're in that hypertrophy cycle, all that scientific stuff, but we're also teaching these kids how to work through something that is extremely hard on a regular basis. I think that's tough, and that's important, because they got to learn how to train hard, and if they don't know how to train hard, they're never going to get anything out of them. And this whole off season was a very, very big acclimation period for both the coaches and the players. All right, Coach came in, and he got hired in January. Coach Nystrom did, and Coach and I, we have a very similar connection with Rick Perry. He worked with Rick at Central Michigan University. Rick actually worked for Coach Mendoza at Notre Dame, and Rick is now with the Chicago Bears. And Rick and I know each other really well. So Kyle felt like he could trust me a little bit. So he has not stepped, he hasn't stepped in the weight room, and he hasn't told me to do one time. Told me what to do one time. Now, are there things that the players and myself are all going to have to adjust to? Absolutely. I think that what people don't understand is that's our job. He's the head football coach. This is his football program. We had a long sheet. I spent about 8 to 9 weeks developing our off-season program. Okay, and that gets changed when a new head football coach comes in. And I can't sit here and maybe I have one moment where I'm pissed off that I wasted my time. Okay, but then outside of that, you got to sit back and you got to realize that this is that man's football program, right? And you're going to do what that man wants you guys to do ultimately. And we started implementing the fourth quarter program. All right, fourth quarter program is Buck Nystrom's fourth quarter program. Now, and don't get me, like, there's been some alterations to the original fourth quarter program. But what it is every college since the beginning of time has run stations, okay? It's essentially just a agility station circuit, okay? And it's 8 stations, and we do it twice a week. So we had to program around those guys getting taxed heavily on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we had to accommodate that for that on Mondays and Fridays, if that makes sense. Anybody got any questions so far? Nothing at all? All right, so phase 1. I think that I heard Buddy Morris say this a while ago, and I completely agree with him. Buddy Morris is the strength and conditioning coach for the Arizona Cardinals, and he said it's not progressive overload, it's fluctuation overload. And I think a lot of people overlook this in terms of he's 100% correct, because if you have a kid that is a 410-pound squatter, let's put that for sure, okay? And let's say that he hurts his back, okay? Let's say that he injures his back and he can't squat to the capabilities that you really want him to. So you're going to alter and fluctuate in what he can do to overload the body. Does that make sense? So we make sure that our guys all the time, now I'll hit them with like a standard overload program. We'll do that for 4 weeks. We'll hit 10s, we'll hit 8s, we'll hit 6s, and we'll progress our way down. And then the last 3 weeks we'll get more specific with the positions. But what we want to do is make sure we can fluctuate with what those guys are going to be overloaded with. All right, we go high tempo, high volume, and like I said before, we want to increase the work capacity. During phase 1, we are teaching all of our basic movements. So if you guys were here last night, you guys saw some of our very, very basic movements in terms of what we do for our speed work. All right, we stick with our A skips, our B skips, our wall drills, our arm action. All right, and make sure that those guys can maneuver through all of those movements before we move on to the next one. So after we get done with that, then phase 2 we'll go to more experience. So same thing with our change of direction drills. Okay, so I want you guys to see this. All right. So this is what we call a speed skater, and Coach Boss is demonstrating it right now. All right. So what we look for is teaching a positive shin angle in what they're doing. All right. If you watch a linebacker, all right, and he's going down the field this way, and he's going to change direction, he doesn't change direction like this and then turn. He breaks down and puts himself in a position to be able to shift the weight to come back, right? So why do we just run through? Why do we run through your standard pro agility drill? Why don't we break things down for them to be able to maneuver through these first before we put them in a more stressful situation? Does that make sense? So we make sure that we hammer our speed skate drills, all right, and we hammer our shuffling drills. And I can show you. There was one day where our guys didn't want to do shit right, all right, and they didn't want to shuffle right, they didn't want to keep their butts down, they didn't want to take care of themselves as a team. So we shuffled and stopped for an hour and 10 minutes, okay, because our guys couldn't do this correctly. Shuffle, 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 stop. Shuffle, 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 stop. It's an athletic position, right? That's what we're teaching. We couldn't do it because they didn't want to pay attention. So we're going to continue to do it until you can do it right. Maybe it was an hour. Maybe it was an hour and 10 minutes. Probably like 45 to 50, eh? Right, Ryan? I mean, we spent the whole period inside, outside doing the shuffling drill. So like we are going to teach for the first 3 weeks. We're going to teach our basic change of direction drills. All right. And to me, being in an athletic position, such as a shuffle, and putting yourself in a position like a speed skater, all right, those are 2 fundamental movements that you need to be able to change direction. All right. Instead of putting a guy, like I said earlier, in a pro agility or an L drill and doing that right now, teach them how to maneuver and change direction in the first place. Okay. Hannah, make sure you don't forget to push this record button again. You got me? Yeah. All right. Hannah does a great job for me, by the way. She is fantastic. I'm all over her all the time, though, but she's awesome. All right. So the strength. So phase 2, we move into strictly strength. Okay. And our accessories are more volume work. They have, we're hitting more reps to make sure the guys aren't going to just, pound